Hello everybody, and welcome to a video where I actually talk about NHL 22 instead of just playing it. I think playing it would be better. A break from the franchise stuff. There'll still be franchise stuff up today on the channel. NHL 22 has a patch coming out tomorrow, an update that is bringing in some stuff to the game that I wanted to discuss and talk about. So let's get down to business. There are Huns to defeat after all. First things first. The women's Olympic teams are being added into the game tomorrow. Now, right out of the gates, I will mention that, yes, I'm a little bit concerned about the implementation of this, right? I mean, we look back to the World Junior mode. Great addition. Implementation? There really wasn't like a championship celebration. There was no bronze medal game. I mean, I wasn't upset to be like, oh, you can't take Owen Power out of the mode and put him in the franchise. That's not surprising at all. But the implementation of the mode itself needs some work. It wasn't the best first impression they could have made. And then obviously it doesn't help that the World Juniors got canceled. The Olympics, though, look like they're going to be going on. And again, the women's teams are being added. They released the list of the top 10 rated players. And yeah, I'm excited and I agree with the ratings. I mean, the fact is, this is just cool as hell. I'm still not over the fact that this is cool as hell. Because it is. Marie-Philippe Poulin is the highest rated player out of the women. I can't disagree with it all. Kendall Coyne-Schofield, though, better have the fastest skating. Of course, she had that display at the All-Star game a couple of years ago. But to see the Hillary Knights, the Brianna Jenners, like, it's just, this is cool as hell. It is. And yes, shout out to my good buddy Queso here, who had this tweet about how the majority of commenters are on there. And of course, yes, indeed, the majority of, or maybe not the majority, but there are some people that are going to have some pretty shitty comments there. But hopefully the implementation is going to be good. That's all I can really hope for. But I'm excited for this edition. And of course, in terms of the full-on update with the patch, let's get into talking about what is there. Because again, we knew that the women's update was going to be happening, but there are other things that they have changed. Now, they do say that there's the tuning to the international rule set and the game style, so I'm intrigued by that. Hopefully what that includes is somehow, like, obviously the big elephant in the room with the women's game is that, you know, checking is essentially illegal. I'm intrigued to see if that makes that happen. We'll see. They also disabled the manual one-timers, so when people score goals, their limbs won't be going everywhere like wacky waving, incredible arm flailing tubemen. So that won't be happening anymore. I'm going to miss that for the esports broadcast. Gameplay-wise, I got to be honest, guys. In terms of all of these, who the hell knows, right? Who the hell knows? Honestly, gameplay-wise, for NHL 22, when it comes to HUT, when it comes to ESHL, I don't really bother anymore. Like, every single year at EASHL, my friends and I, you know, obviously some of the friends that you guys will know from YouTube and from Twitch that I play the game with, but also some of the guys that have been playing this series with for over a decade now, every single year, how much we've played has just gone down, and it's a shame. So, who knows? I mean, they are tuning deflections as well, which you could say should be done, of course. I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about that in particular in terms of the gameplay. I don't have my hopes up that magically I will enjoy their gameplay. Obviously, you guys know I play offline a lot. The slider set video is still coming. I'm a very busy boy as of late, but the slider set video is coming. We seem to have finally kind of locked down a slider set that is pretty fun to use for offline play. Same thing with the ESHL updates, whatever. Here's some interesting ones, though, relevant to what we do here. Franchise mode. Teams, if there is a franchise level player available, are unlikely now to trade their first overall pick. Good call. Good call. Way too often, I think. Like, I'm not opposed to teams being willing to trade their picks. I just feel like the timing of it wasn't exactly what it should have been. So that was pretty disappointing. As well, the contract expiry status is being changed as well, which is great. You remember how the RFA thing has been glitched forever? Finally, they fixed it, so you will properly know, at least you should if it works right, you will know if someone is going to be an RFA or a UFA at the end of the deal. So happy about this. And then scouts not appearing correctly when viewing their scout card. I mean, I never really viewed their scout card anyway, but that's perfectly fine. Be a pro, sure. Sure. I mean, let's be honest, they haven't really done too much for Be a Pro. But here, and I promise you, here are the biggest updates. First and foremost, we'll be able to put numbers in our files when sharing rosters. Imagine that. So I won't have to type out version 3. It'll just be V3. That's great. This right here is the biggest change we could have possibly asked for, with the exception of outright passing tendencies and shooting tendencies, checking tendency sliders like we saw in the old 2K games. They have now given us the ability, much like they did earlier, I believe in December, it might have even been the end of November, I should say, where they gave us the ability with created players to change the shoot-pass bias to kind of control the fact that the AI, or computer-generated players would shoot the puck so much more often than regular players. And as a result, if you wanted to use a roster like mine with a lot of creative players, you just have to accept that a lot of creative players would be some of the top scorers in the league. They gave us that slider to fix it, and now that slider is available to edit for everybody. So we should, in theory, be able to fully replicate the fact that someone like David Pastrnak in franchise for the past couple of years has been legendary for not shooting the puck and being more of a playmaker. Now I can make sure that guys like David Pastrnak actually shoot the puck. It's going to be great. And again, I have a formula down for that. There are different ways to go about it, but really to get to the same information, something as simple as just saying okay, and I've looked at this as well on Hockey Reference, the high-end shooters have gotten 300 shots on goal a season. So obviously that'll equate to a 0 to shoot the puck most often. So someone like Alex Ovechkin will be a madman. And then obviously someone who has 15 shots a year will be at a 15, and they're more likely to pass. That is going to drastically alter the way franchise mode sims. Huge, absolutely huge. I think you guys have already seen the difference if you've used my rosters or, say, AJ Duelist rosters on PS4 or anybody that has been able to work with that slider. The game, franchise now wasn't dominated by created players, and this is just the next step to that, to be able to fully replicate the real-life players, hopefully performing more towards what they actually do IRL. So I am pumped. Absolutely pumped. It does mean a lot of editing work for yours truly to go back through, so I was planning on putting out version 4 of my rosters on Series S and X. Unfortunately, I'm going to delay that until we make full use of this, again with the update coming out tomorrow, that being Thursday the 27th. As well, some cool stuff here, too. I gotta be honest. I mean, updating, the center ice designs I like. Honestly, I feel like that's an underrated thing for the atmosphere this year, is that they did kind of get, the accurate center ice stuff. The logos are proper. Vegas's center ice logo's gigantic. I'm a nerd for presentation. I still think they need to continue to expand their presentation. They also, of course, added some of the true goalie equipment finally, which is great. And a bunch of uniform updates. We're getting the Winter Classic jerseys now, and I'm intrigued to see. I mean, I'm a nerd as well for goalie equipment upgrades as well, and jerseys and stuff like that. So it's going to be really cool to see a lot of the European leagues finally getting their upgraded stuff as well. So, for people in a gameplay perspective, it might not have everything that you want, but for someone in my situation, primarily an offline player now at this stage, I think this January patch has potential. And let's be honest, was there even a January patch last year? If there was, it might have been the last one. It didn't feel like there was that much support for NHL 21 post-launch. I'm excited for what this patch will bring. So, I mean, certainly look out in the next couple of days. We'll have something related to checking out the women's situation. Of course, I do plan on doing some kind of Olympic content as well, World Junior-wise. By the time I had a chance to do it after getting home from visiting family, the World Juniors had already been canceled. So, at least Olympic-wise, we should be able to do some stuff here that I think will be pretty cool. But like I said, keep an eye out on the channel. Bunch of videos coming your way. A lot of franchise mode stuff, certainly. Of course, there is the Tukey's Take podcast that you can listen to. If you were a viewer before or a listener before and you think, oh, man, you stopped doing the podcast. Again, there was a different feed, a changeover at the beginning of October. So the Tukey's Take podcast is still out there twice a week, every Tuesday and Friday. Of course, it's on basically every audio platform, Spotify, Apple, Google, Reason, whatever the hell you listen to podcasts on. And if it's not there, let me know, and I'll make sure that you can listen to it. As well, of course, there is the podcast, video channel as well if you want to watch it as well. Just search Tukey's Take Podcast. Of course, the link is in the description as well. There's the second channel, TWOGIE24, Tukey24, for everything non-NHL related, including we are bringing back NCAA Football 13. I play 13 over the 14 kind of modded version because 13 has better recruitment. So keep an eye out for that. A lot of fun. Very busy guy. Thank you guys for watching, though. I will see you again very, very soon. But yeah, shout out to these changes, man. I'm pumped.